Hello community, we've done it before and we're gonna do it again. Silent Assassin, Suit Only and a long-range Sniper Assassin all at the same time. All targets must be conscious at all times, however the Hitman 2 maps are significantly bigger in size than the Hitman 2016 ones, and the fact that their targets are as spread out as a stripper's butt cheeks doesn't help me much either. Because of that, I've increased the time limit to 11 minutes on any map that requires a minimum of 3 targets. The reason for that is because threesomes never go smoothly. Or at least that's what I've been told. Anyways, for our first mission, we were sent to a secret location deep inside Alma Reynard's bitch house. It was darker than a Batman comic and cold as a banker's heart. Yet, with this loadout in hand, I felt I had a pretty decent opportunity ahead of me. And, since Agent 47 decided to park the boat about a mile from the house, it meant Hitman had to become a sprint man. But, once I finally made my way to the garage door, I carefully moved my briefcase to the upper floor and started making my way upstairs. Someone had decided to leave an opening at the top floor bathroom, and you know what they say, where there's a hole, there's a goal. Slowly making my way to the laptop room, I started putting down little breadcrumbs, recreating the story of Hansel and Gretel, though this time the reward would be a bullet in the head. From there, her secret room was next on my list, though by this point it was about as secret as Tarantino's foot fetish. Still, I made my way inside and found some rather useful tools for my troubles. I had a feeling they'd come in handy just a bit later. Searching her computer was up next, and like clockwork, that was Alma's cue to arrive. Once officially present, my plan was rather simple. Given Agent 47's exceptional beauty, all I needed to do was flash her with my pistol, and crazy in love, she would gladly come to me upstairs. However, given this is a sniper route, it meant I needed to leave the house and make my way to the getaway. Any guards getting in my way would receive the Dwight K. Schrute treatment by being shot with a tranquilizer. Once I was just far enough away, I pulled out the rifle and waited. I knew Alma's greed would get the better of her, and I was right. Positioning herself right in front of the window, I gave her a final penetration and took off for the exit. I had to get far enough from the house before I was able to cause the distraction, otherwise the body would certainly get found. Shooting the truck was a clever strategy, but as anything in Hitman, there are no guarantees. One guard decided to freeze in fear and not move from the boat, but thankfully my trusted tranquilizer came in handy once again, giving me the opportunity to escape and complete my very first mission. Why did I come here? Well, it certainly wasn't for the weather. I had 2 targets needing an assassination, an old-ass Two-Face and a tomboy Harley Quinn. She is gorgeous and completely wild, it's a shame the only thing I can put in her is a bullet, but hey, rules are rules. Now, Miami may look like a great place on the outside, but make no mistake about it, this city is filled with vice. And I was about to add some more. With my loadout firmly selected, it was time to get off the bench and start the rodeo, partner. Despite Miami's large size, the targets, much like a 40-year-old cougar, practically can't be any easier. They take almost no setup work at all, though skill is certainly required when taking the shots. You'll see what I mean in just a bit. But first, we need to take care of the camera and open the door to our sniper nest. From here, climb up the stairs and make my way to the bridge. Shooting the laptop takes care of Robert's lure. All that was left was to gently hand my briefcase to the marshal and prepare for my target's arrival. Sierra was on the horizon, and with my precision at an all-time high, I spun her like a record round. No, I'm not a very good singer. Robert was the only one left, but also the trickiest to shoot. I had to wait for his bodyguard to take position and calculate the perfect dart. 60% of the time, this strategy works every time. One shot in the leg, it looked to cause a massive ejaculation, which ultimately put him to sleep. From here, I just shot Robert on the clean side of his face, making sure to give him perfect symmetry. With both targets sent to the shadow realm, it was time once again to make my exit, which in this case was the old man's private helicopter. It was heavily guarded, and I did have to be careful. Making my way through the camera room wasn't easy, but another tranq shot caused the guard to apparently piss himself to sleep, allowing me just enough time to run through the room and blow the door off the hinges, allowing me to run my way to the helicopter and ultimately escape. Miami was easy, but I already knew that. However, my next map, boy, that would be anything but. Santa Fortuna was up next, and I knew it would be a gigantic challenge. It's one map in the series that is consistently inconsistent, like a woman. Sometimes targets walk in with guards, other times they're by themselves. Sometimes their loop takes 4 minutes, other times it takes 5. It was a map filled with inconsistencies, which meant I had to plan ahead and take as little risks as possible. With this loadout, I knew I had just what I needed to combat some of those issues. With no time for hippie talk, I just headed deep into the jungle like my name was Rambo. Though, running around from bush to bush like that can make your balls rather itchy. It's not a good feeling, trust me. But there was no other way, as I had to make my way to Franco's private laboratory. Using my pistol, I turned off a fuse box to lure one of the workers in my way. He had an important keycard I needed to acquire. From there, all I had to do was make my way inside and turn up his fancy microwave in order to destroy his rare flower. What type of a drug lord uses a microwave anyways? Once done, I had to make my way back into the bushes, where the itchy balls became apparent once again. Luckily for me, this was the last time I'd have to make my way through this area, as Rico's mansion was next on my tour guide. Making my way through the foliage, I quickly grabbed a baseball, which, believe it or not, is very popular in Colombia, second only to coffee and cocaine. However, my intentions for it were rather different. I had to take out an annoying maid that was in my way and move my briefcase to the second floor. From here, all I needed to do was hide the unconscious body before anyone can find it and move again upstairs. Climbing Rico's pipe sounds more sexual than it needs to be, but it was the only way to get to the bathroom, and once I got there, I immediately began with my shenanigans. This trap needed to be perfect. The whole guide depended on it. Guard in front of the window, briefcase next to the toilet, and door blown harder than Hugh Hefner. With all the right items in correct locations, I moved out, but made sure to say goodbye to one of the patrolling guards outside. With him dealt with, all that was left was for me to make my way onto my sniper nest and wait for Rico to arrive. As he made his way into the room, he spotted my briefcase and went to pick it up. But as soon as he entered the bathroom, he found the bodyguard I knocked out. As he made his way to the body, he positioned himself perfectly in front of the window, allowing me the opportunity to pierce his forehead and lay him to rest. It was a strategy so complicated, even Batman would be proud of it. However, Audas was up next. Yet, I remained calm. Taking out a few cameras gave me the perfect position on the bridge. All I had to do was wait for him to show up, and all would be resolved. The timing of the shot was rather critical. If I was even so slightly late, the body would get found by the guards watching down below. I had to make sure I kill him before that can happen. So, as soon as he popped his head out of the bushes, like a rabbit, I pulled the trigger and took him down. Though to be fair, the fashion police should have done that decades ago. From there, a small distraction allowed me to make my way to my final sniper location, where I could lay my rifle down and move forward to Miss Martinez. She was currently present in the mansion, so I had to be very careful with my movement. Throwing a shovel at the camera seemed to cause no reaction at all from the guards around. I guess raining shovels isn't all that rare in Colombia, so I just hit the body and moved to the second guard. Time again was of the essence, as Butterface was making her way down the stairs. I had to be careful. With both of these guards taken care of, I had only one to go. Thankfully, I still had my baseball in hand and proceeded to rearrange his facial features before jumping in and hiding his unconscious ass in the bathroom nearby. My setup was officially complete. All that was left was for me to make my way back to the sniper and assemble a position. This kill was extremely finicky. I had to take her down before she was able to open the door. Otherwise, her body would definitely get spotted. I had to be very quick and finish fast, though that's not something women tend to appreciate. Still, it was crucial for my mission success. So, as soon as she just popped her head out, I blew my load in her face and ran for the exit. Santa Fortuna was finished, yet my next mission would make me do it all again. Though on the surface they share a lot of similarities, huge map, 3 targets, 2 male and 1 female, all in distinct fortresses on different sides of the map. It's almost like 2 twin brothers copying homework from one another. However, Mumbai, much like a Russian woman, is a lot more demanding. It takes more knowledge and skill to be able to handle it. However, if you do, the possibilities just open up and you can do pretty much anything you like with it. With this loadout, I believe I was able to acquire all of the things I needed to put together a solid guide. Immediately from the start, I proceeded to grab myself a fish and move forward to the hanging ladder. Shooting it down like a Hollywood director to an inspiring actor allowed me to climb up, and it was time for some shenanigans. First, I had to get one of the guards to look at me and come my way. I proceeded to use the high school girl strategy by just sitting in the room with him and standing around until he notices me. It worked surprisingly well. From there, I took the weapon and hit the body, so I could move to the lady. Given that she is a soft and feminine creature, I proceeded to be very gentle with my takedown, before ultimately moving her body into the wardrobe where she could enjoy looking at clothes all day. Now, it was all about climbing up to the flag where I could grab the colored brick I needed for my lure, before making a Steven Seagal-like descent to go pick up my lockpick from the briefcase nearby, and then get down the ladder so I can send some smoke signals to the targets nearby. Rangan was the one I wanted. A sentence that has never been said before, but in order to get my hands on him, or more so my bullets, I had to be very creative with my setup, placing a coin down for him to find, then tossing coins and darts to take care of the guards protecting the site. It was very important to time them correctly, as NPCs are awoken instantly like a liberal college student by just being near one another. Then I proceeded to leave some toys for Rangan's bodyguards to pick up and started making my way to the sniper nest. Once I had made it in, all I needed to do was wait. Shooting a picture in the salon was enough to get Patchy the Pirate's attention. Pulling the trigger would end his SpongeBob appearances once and for all. But before I could celebrate that victory, Darwood had already arrived. Just waiting for him to spot the coins gave me the perfect opportunity to send him swimming with the fishes. With both of these pests now exterminated, I had only Priyanka Chopra to worry about. Her train yard, much like a fetish club, was a very tricky place to maneuver. Don't ask me how I know, but I had to make my way to its top floor, distracting a guard, which allowed me in turn to turn on the water in the meditation pool. With it now in motion, all that was left was to take care of certain in-the-way NPCs. Shooting the door open made one of the female NPCs come investigate. It was love at first sight. As soon as she saw me, she just had to come and investigate. Choking on the first date was kinda kinky, but hey, if she's into it, what can I say? I took her in the bushes for a little bit of privacy and headed back upstairs. There, I met one of the male guards as well. He was quite kinky too. Is everyone into choking these days? What a weird world we live in. Anyways, with all my plans already set in motion, all I had to do was wait for her to plant herself into position, making her way into the meditation pool. I pulled the trigger instantly. She didn't even have time to get wet, but hey, most women are already used to that. Plus, I had a train to catch, and it waited for nobody. Making my way outside, I ran with all my glory and gear to make it on time, and I just barely did. With this elegant escape, I had conquered one of Hitman's hardest maps and was ready to go to my all-time favorite. Whittleton Creek as a map has always been something special to me. It's an environment I love and enjoy visiting time after time. I've said many times that it's my favorite map, like Hamilton in Silverstone and Aprilia in Catalunya. I knew this one had to be something special. So, with this stylish loadout in mind, I began my mission. My first order of business was rather simple: scare the pigeons and head to the terrace for some hardcore parkour. Shooting the camera made the guard turn around, allowing me the perfect opportunity to bonk him on the head and throw him outside, before ultimately dragging him into the container to hide the body. With a wrench in hand, I waited for JFK and his bodyguard to arrive, and when they did, the bodyguard received a slight concussion, so I threw him over the fence head first to try and fix it, before placing him in a freezer to chill out. From there, Mr. Kennedy's part of the mission was complete, which meant Abraham was on the cards. He's a very old man, so I had to be quick. I didn't want natural selection to take him down before I did. Running my way into the house, I found yet another guard sleeping on the job and decided to move him to the garage as to not get in my way. From there, Dolph Ziggler was on the list. A coin toss in the bathroom gave me the perfect lure to get him completely isolated and choke out the kinky bastard while leaving his body hidden in plain sight. With both my targets officially set and ready, it was time to take care of the annoying clues. Making my way into the basement, I found another guard drastically losing consciousness, which allowed me to grab the picture and then take care of the evidence. I had to make my way across the pond to visit Kennedy's unfriendly neighbor. I had 2 more clues to collect and I was no Inspector Clouseau, though that's probably a good thing, as thankfully I could do them rather quickly. Mr. Harvey Oswald had to be visited. I hoped that taking a look at my briefcase would make him more compliant, and I was correct. He pretty much fell off his chair when he saw it. From there, I picked up the second clue and went digging like the Undertaker during a Buried Alive match. Discovering the very last clue meant it was time for the final part of the mission to go into effect. I ran my way upstairs to the upper floor of the house and prepared myself like it was 1963. As Kennedy made his way into the garage, I realized he needs some rest like he needs a hoe in the head and decided to gladly give it to him. From there, I just made my way across to the other room and started waiting for Mr. Lincoln to walk into the room. All I know is, if Netflix ever decided to do a documentary on him, the finale better be shot in front of a live audience. Pulling the trigger, I quickly reenacted history with a bigger scope and took off for the exit. It was a rather clean run I had achieved. Its beauty was in its simplicity, not something Lady Gaga would understand. So, with all my objectives completed, I made my way to the getaway, saying goodbye to my beloved Whittleton Creek and preparing myself for a mission the Irish would call a piece of shite. However, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I mean, sure, the Alves Gale as a map is overfilled with NPCs from everywhere, meaning everything you do has to be precise. If anything is even slightly off balance, much like pissing your pants, it would definitely get noticed. This is why I've chosen this loadout to overcome some of those shortcomings. My first piece of business was to make my way into a closet. No, I wasn't gonna cosplay Ricky Martin. There was simply an iron inside, which would prove rather useful. You see, metal objects produce a spark when shot by a weapon. That spark is enough to light a fire. That was exactly what I needed. Placing it in the money pit meant that Zoe Washington was done and dealt with, but Sophia gathered my attention. She's the sexier of the two, so it's bound to happen. However, it didn't help much that I took one of the worst snipers in the game. It has no zoom on it at all, so I had to be very clever when and how I took the shots. Killing the evidence made sure my run would be uninterrupted, so all I needed to do was move in the right direction. It's been a while since I've played Assassin's Creed, but looking at the numbers, it seems I'm not the only one. Still, this parkour segment always tends to remind me of it. Once I made my destination, it was all about timing. Taking down both guards and hiding their bodies, as well as retrieving their weapons, was all necessary to make sure my target would not be interrupted during her loop. Leaving their weapons in a safe place, I made my way out with my sniper in hand. Both kills were officially prepared. All I needed to do from here is just make my way back to the sniper nest. Though difficult for sure, as like I said earlier, this mission is as overfilled as a JCPenney on a Black Friday. Finally, making my way back to the sniper nest, it was time for the lure. Shooting the iron caused a spark that set the money on fire. It's a strategy that Disney and Netflix have been doing for a while now, which in turn meant that Zoe was on her way. From there, I just waited on Sophia, and with a small bullet distraction, I was able to pierce right through her. Though, to be fair, it's not in the way I wanted to do it. From here, all I had to do was just be patient. As Zoe arrived, I once again did a bullet distraction, this time on the NPCs, and then took the shot that will result in the Wonder Twins being out for good. However, I still had an exit to the chopper to worry about, and it was rather overcrowded. Distracting and knocking out one of the custodians gave me free reins to run behind the heli, and throwing a coin to distract the final guard from there meant that all I needed to do was just reach the heli really quickly and make my way out. I had conquered all of Hitman 2's original missions, but it wasn't over yet. You see, Hitman 2 had some pretty tasty DLC, 2 maps in New York's The Bank, and another one we'll discuss later. With this loadout in mind, dressed like a gay pop star, I was prepared to tackle the mission ahead. Since I had no lockpick, I had to use my ninja skills to sneak my way past the front guard, take out some camera and leave behind my sniper for later, then make my way down the stairs and start knocking out every single thing that moves. With all 4 guards in a state of sleep, I picked up the master key and proceeded to the vault, where my side objective was just waiting to be picked up. With it in the briefcase secured, I had only one more job to do, picking up some secret files that for some reason just happened to be there, and giving them to a snooping reporter while trying to keep my distance. We were in America, and being accused of sexual harassment wasn't one of the objectives. From here, I just left the data right next to the exit and prepared myself for Miss Savalas, not with lotion or anything, just a sadistic plan in mind. Again, putting my ninja skills to use, I grabbed my sniper rifle and headed to the bank tellers. It's clear that the suit I had chosen had made me pretty much invisible. I moved around like a shadow, only being somewhat spotted from every single person that was present. But nevertheless, I did make my way to my sniper location. From here, it was all about timing. It wasn't crucial or anything, but I did need to wait for the guard to turn around, and as soon as he did, I proceeded to leave one less evil banker in the world, though technically evil and banker are pretty much the same thing. From there, I needed to panic the guard as a way to make him forget about the body and quickly placed my rifle back into its case before rushing to the exit. This mission was pretty much done honestly, and it wasn't very difficult. It was a lot easier than expected, though that is nice given where we're headed next. Haven Island, a name too dangerous to be mentioned in public. 3 targets, a map as gigantic as Nicki Minaj's ass, huge NPC vision cones, and tons of possibilities for things to go wrong, meant that I was probably gonna be here for a while, and to be fair, I was. But at the same time, with this loadout in mind, I was given all the necessary things I required. My first order of business was to make my way to Tyson Williams' mansion, running in the water with shoes on. That's why Agent 47 is a hardcore assassin. It's a gorgeous map, I can't pretend otherwise, but that's pretty much its only positives. Making my way inside, I took down the evidence and proceeded to grab a concrete newspaper, strong enough to knock out guards from range when thrown. After that, I just quickly cleaned up the jacuzzi room by hiding all of the unconscious stuff and fixed it for him. Who says Agent 47 doesn't do good things, right? Then, just leave out the rifle so I can get the maid to turn around and head off the villa. My job was done, it was time to go to the sniper nest. A little bullet distraction allowed my concrete newspaper to knock out yet another guard, as I then hit his body and started making my way to the hood. One of the guards happened to be angry over his co-worker falling asleep. Kinda weird, as he randomly decided to take a nap as well. From here it was rather simple. I picked up my rifle and headed to the top of the tower. My first kill was already set in motion. Distracting Tyson's guard had to be precise. That would be the difference between him coming back and walking away. With the final shot just right, it gave me the opportunity to take Tyson out from far and move his body. His part of the mission was officially over. Next, I had to deal with some annoying guards downstairs. I felt like they could use a little break, so I gave it to them. With both bodies hidden inside, my plan was working brilliantly, and it was time to go after Stephen Bradley, an evil programmer who steals and sells people's private data. I wonder why that sounds so familiar. So anyways, as Mark Zuckerberg made his way to the private island, I felt rather calm. No setup work was really required. All I had to do was be patient and precise with my shots. The rest would take care of itself. All I had to do was wait for him to start his run. Shooting a bush nearby somehow also ended up taking out an invisible parrot. I took it as a sign of good luck and kept going. With Zuckerberg deep into the bushes, I next shot a bullet close to his bodyguard to distract him, and with that, Mr. Zuckerberg bit the ground. With 2 targets officially down, it was time to prepare the stage for the Russian chick's arrival. I made my way outside and went after the roaming waiter. Hiding his body meant I had only one person left to deal with, and that was her personal massageur. That word is hard to say. With her body hidden as well, the setup was pretty much completed. I just returned to my sniper nest and cleared it out completely before starting the wait for Ludmila. By far Hitman's most gorgeous and sexiest target, but at the same time tend to the point of looking like a Christmas turkey. After a long and lengthy phone call, she finally made her way into the empty spa room where a bullet distraction would guide her just into the crosshair of my sniper rifle. I pulled the trigger and finished her, but sadly not in the fun way. With all my targets subdued for good, I packed my trusty sniper and launched my way to the exit. It was hard to say whether Hitman 2 was more difficult to conquer in comparison to 2016, however it was certainly longer. Length isn't everything though, I mean girth is also important, especially when it comes to the size of your silver bowler, and if you think I'm starting to talk nonsense, well, it just shows you how far my sanity has fallen during the making of this video. Now, I won't lie, beating some of these maps was definitely not easy, especially knowing I had to invent every route from scratch, but the feeling of pride and joy when completed is one that cannot be replaced. I wonder if there's any other maps for me to beat. Well, I guess we'll have to wait for next time. Until then, feel free to like, subscribe, or become a channel member if you'd like to support me personally. And expect some Hitman anniversary content dropping later this month. With all that said, what else is left but to thank you very much for watching.